I'm going to start off with the Kani basami. You've heard the word before, Kani basami, a scissoring motion. We're going to do a leg scissor sweep. Now there's a lot of controversial thoughts about this sweep. It's prohibited in a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments and grappling, especially for beginners, because there's a high risk of getting injury. Now, in my opinion, it is a dangerous takedown, the Kani basami, the crab scissor, but I have over 10 years, 12 years of experience in capoeira, where we do this on a regular basis. It's called a tesoura de costa. It's a leg sweep we use in capoeira all the time, on the hard floor, no mats, and in a very dynamic setting. And so far I have seen injuries occur, but it's very safe to train this if you know what you're doing. So just as with heel hooks, prohibiting heel hooks or saying heel hooks are dangerous, yes, there's a very high danger. In Kani basami as well, there's a very high danger. But as we are aware of what it is we're doing, as we are aware of the risks, it's very easy to train this and be more aware and actually make it safer by training it. So we're going to look at the Kani basami. I've used this entry at several competitions and in sparring, especially when I lure out the single leg. We're going to look at the variation from there. So first, let's go off the mechanics, the risks, and how I enter into the 411. So we're going to start in a standing position. Just for the purpose of explaining the technique, Mike has an underhook on my body, I have an overhook on Mike. I'm going to lean on his shoulder, so my hand is going to be on his shoulder. I'm not going to catch the whizzer, the overhook. I'm going to be here. I could do the same takedown if I have the underhook, I could do it with an overhook, but for this purpose it's easy to be here and hang as a body on top of Mike. We're going to be positioned sideways in a wrestling scenario, but now just for training to show you what's happening. So Mike is going to square off with his feet. Nice. My rear leg is going to make a backstep motion, catching his secondary leg with my heel. So in capoeira, the best way to train this is get both of his legs. If we only go for one leg, it's easy for Mike to step back as we fall down. So I want to catch both legs. So this leg goes all the way behind, catching his far leg. Look at my leg. Now, if you're having trouble reaching that far, it's easy to just lean in a bit. As I'm falling, it's going to be very easy. If I do it step by step, it's going to be harder. If I make one motion, it will be easier. So I lean in a bit. Now be very careful not to drop your hip all the way to the floor. If I go all the way down, I'm going to put too much strain on his knees. And I'm now going to just scissor his knees and his shins, and that's where injury occurs. I want to be high and I want to be low. So in capoeira, I train the tesoura de costa, catching both legs. That means my rear leg makes a back step on his secondary leg, and my primary leg goes all the way on his thigh. Here. Now I have a scissor on a high and a low point. I'm leaning on my elbow, being close, and getting my hip close to Mike's hip as I scissor down and go for the takedown. Now the problem with this is I end up with my foot on the outside. In jiu-jitsu, that means I don't have a very nice leg configuration to start attacking and controlling him. Okay? There's a variation from here. I can get the leg and close the sankaku on the outside of his legs like this. I've seen Stefan Kesting doing this for grapple arts, getting the outside position. I'm not a big fan of this one. I want to be on the inside position, and that's easily solved. So I still want to trap his secondary leg with my outside leg. Now this leg goes on the inside. I'm going to make a hook here. I still want to be high on the thigh. So I have these two motions, being high and low, so I get a scissor and I sweep him down. If you're training and drilling this, the best way to get accustomed with this technique, and especially being the partner, is not to resist. Lock your knees, please, Mike. So lock them. Now it's going to be very, very dangerous for Mike to get injury, especially if I'm not accustomed to the technique and I fall down low and I break his knees here with all of my body weight collapsing on his knees. So the best thing for your partner to do is to bend their knees a little bit, and as we go down, fall backwards with me and just like sitting on a chair, rocking down, keeping his chin tucked. Okay? So I go all the way behind, keeping my hip high so I don't fall down. I stay high. I lean on Mike, I post. This leg goes on the inside here. And now I Kani basami. I have to control this secondary leg with my rear leg, otherwise he'll just step back. Now I fall down, and now we end up in the 411. So let's show the whole takedown once. 1, 2, 3, 4, going into one motion, getting the takedown. This is the easiest, most convenient way to get accustomed to the Kani basami or the scissor or the chisora de costa motion, combining it with leg locks and the 411 position. Now let's look at how it translates to a sparring scenario. We're going to look at the scenario where Mike has my leg trapped inside a single leg position. So we're grappling. Mike shoots for the single leg, keeping his head on the inside. Okay? You might be familiar with the running man escape. I want to push and get my knee to the outside, trying to escape. For this instance, I want to keep control on his armpit or his shoulder. And now we're going to do the same thing, because my leg is already on the inside. I'm going to lean into him and swing this leg back, putting my hand on the mat, going for the Kani basami, like so. So I just turned his single leg into my takedown, into my 411. Once again. He goes for the single leg. I keep my body weight close to him. I don't want to escape, because now it gets hard to get this leg back. So get a bit to this side, please. Okay. So we're here. Yeah, even draaien. We're here. Control his armpit, control his head, or grab his arm, whatever you feel like. Throw this leg back, keeping this high, because he's already pulling it up for the single leg. And swinging this backward, putting my hand on the mat, going for the Kani basami. Attacking his legs and entering in the 411. So you've heard of the Kani basami movement, as we've discussed with other 411 techniques, because every time I scissor my legs in this motion, I end up in 411. We've done it from butterfly, safely, getting accustomed. Now finally we're doing it standing with all of my body weight. Training it safely, getting familiar with the mechanics and the control, and also with the potential risks, and now showing a way how it's being put to use in a sparring scenario, where he gets a single leg and we go for it. What I like to do, I like to tempt them into taking the single leg. So for instance, we're grappling. Let's show the other side once. So we're grappling and I'm staying with one foot forward, like grip fighting. I know he's going to shoot for the single leg. As soon as he goes, I push off his head, or I grab his armpit, or I grab this grip. But usually he keeps his elbows tight for the single leg, and this is pretty hard to reach in for the kimura and stuff. So I want to go in, grab his chest, swing backwards and just backstep here and going for it. Yeah. So in one motion, as he's leaning for the single leg, I go, sweep, control, and go for the submission. A Kani basami, leg scissor, or chisora de costa from single leg takedowns and from a standing position. Pois.